Hello everybody and welcome back to another AOR Season 16 highlights video here for round number 12, the Hungarian Grand Prix. And in the past this has been a very good track for me. Last season I actually took the win here by quite some distance. It was probably one of my best drives I've had in AOR F1, but on this game I really didn't feel too hooked up around here, and throughout practice I did struggle quite a bit to find the optimum setup really, and my pace was never really amazing. But you can see here in qualifying we've got a minute remaining. We're currently on the soft tyres, which is the best tyre to start the race on. We've currently got a valid lap on the medium tyres, which has put us in P6. But you can see there Alex in front, he sort of backed out of his lap and that kind of put me off a little bit, so we've ran a little bit wide. And so far on this lap here, this hasn't been the greatest start to a lap, and you can see there hitting that curb way too hard, so we're going to have to back out of this lap and try and go again here on the soft tyres. But we haven't actually got that long left of the session remaining. We've got Williams Alex right up behind us now, who's coming through on his lap as well, so we've got to let him through, and now we've got to try and find a gap. You can see my teammate there is off to the side as well. I think Curly's coming through now, so we're going to let him through, and we've only got 20 seconds of the session remaining, so we need to be a little bit careful here of the time. And at this point I was trying to get a gap, and I was actually totally unaware of how long was left in the session. And you can see here I'm backing up Alex, trying to get a gap now before my lap, but it was at this point I realised I've only got 4 seconds of the session remaining. So I opened DRS now, and you can see we've actually missed our chance to go for another lap, and that means we're going to be starting on the medium tyres down in P9, which starting on the medium tyres isn't a bad thing, but I think I had the potential to be up in around P3 or P4, so it is a massive shame. But I knew my setup was really good in the race. It was more made for the race than qualifying, so I wasn't feeling too bad. But starting P9 we're kind of mired in the pack a little bit, so let's see what we can do from here. We've got our teammate in P10, we've got Alex in front. 5 red lights here for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. And once again we get an awful start there off the line. That was absolutely terrible. I don't know why. I'm kind of struggling with starts on this game quite a bit, and once again we didn't get a good start. But we're going to try and go around the outside here, braking a bit later than Dom, going around the outside to take P9 here. We've got Alex alongside us as well, also on the medium tyres, and we're going to maybe try and look towards the inside here of Alex, but he brakes pretty early, and that's allowed Dom around the outside once again, and he actually gets through there into P9 now. So we're down into P10, and there's only 14 cars here today as well, so the turnout's not as great as it has been in the past. But down in P10 on the medium tyres, that is not where we want to be, because we know our race pace is better than our qualifying pace, and we know we can go forward from here. So to be in P10 is a bit of a shame. You can see Dom tries to look down the inside there of Alex into the chicane. He's not able to make the move stick there, but we're just going to have to settle for P10 at this stage and just make sure we can put in the laps on these medium tyres and make sure we're quick enough, and hopefully we're going to try and pick off a car one by one. But you can see making a little bit of a mistake there, going a little bit wide, and that's enabled Danny to now go for a move around the outside, so we're going to have to go defensive here on lap 1. And to be down in P10 after Germany the last round, where we obviously got taken out on lap 1, and also Silverstone with the glitch, my last 2 races with no points, to be down in P10 in this one is definitely not good. So we need to try and go forward from here if we're going to stand any chance in this championship fight at the moment. So braking pretty late there. We're currently got a little bit more pace than Dom, and yeah, we're right on the back of him at the moment. Alex is kind of getting away a little bit, and it won't be too long now before actually another 5 or 6 laps I'd say before the medium tyres start to be better than the softs in terms of raw pace, and then we should be able to pick off a few cars here and there before they pit on around lap 12, lap 13. We're going to be pitting around lap 20 to 22. I think that's the pit window for these tyres, and you can see now onto lap 8 already there's a little bit of a group forming. Alex has got past Aresi already, and we're going to hopefully try and find a way through on some of these guys who are running the soft tyres at the moment. We're still a little bit quicker than Dom, but not able to make the move. I was running quite high downforce levels as well, so we couldn't really make any kind of manoeuvres on the straight there. But Alex has now got past Curly in front, as you can see, and Dom's actually got a pretty bad run out of turn 1 there, and maybe we're going to look to the outside, but we make a little bit of contact there. Actually quite lucky not to lose any kind of wing from that, because it was a pretty big hit, but we both get away with it. So we're going to continue here on lap 9, and now the medium tyres are definitely in a better situation than the soft tyres. You can see Aresi and Curly are already struggling, and we need to try and clear those 2 before we can start catching the group in front. You can see already Deagle and Lucas are quite far in front of the rest of the pack as we now start lap 10. You can see Dom here actually lets me go, which I wasn't really expecting, but that's enabled us now a better chance to go for a move on the 2 cars in front. So we've managed to go through now, and we've got DRS, we've got everything we need to try and make these overtakes to try and get up with Alex, because Alex is currently first out of the medium tyre runners, so we need to be up with him, and we need to try and beat him here today. But I think before this round I'm 48 points off the lead in the championship. Obviously after the last 2 rounds not going my way with no points in both of them, we're quite far behind, and we're actually down in P5 in the championship as well, so we need to get some good results in the following races. But we've now on the following lap been able to get through on a resi pretty easily there on the straight, and to be fair, a 6.11 was the wings I was running, and it wasn't great on a straight, but you can see there I think Aresi knew that he had to let us go there. I think he was probably running 6.11 as well, because it was pretty easy for us to get through on the straight. But now moving on to lap 12, and you can see we've run a little bit wide there, and that's given us our 3rd warning, and we've already got a 3-second time penalty for the first time in this race. So on lap 12 out of 35 to have 1 penalty already is not really great, and yeah, I was trying my best not to get any kind of penalties, but we've already got one, so we've got to just put up with it and try and continue to put in consistent laps and try not to get any kind of penalty in the remaining part of the race. But you can see Tim Palmer's pitted there, and now everyone who started on the soft tyres is pitted, so now we're in P2 behind Williams Alex, and you can see I've gone very deep there into turn number 1 and not getting a good run out of it either. And I was just struggling really around this track all throughout practice, especially on traction once again, which is definitely a weakness for me on this game. But you can see now, moving on to lap 19, we closed in a little bit on Williams Alex. I think our pace was ever so slightly better than his, but we're not able to catch him at the moment. Dom pitting on the previous lap, and you can see Alex now has come in here on lap 19, which I thought was very early to pit for a set of soft tyres, because yeah, if you start the race on the soft tyres, you'd usually be wanting to pit around lap 12 or lap 13. So I thought it would probably be best to pit around lap 22, because then you'd be doing 13 to 14 laps on the soft tyres, and they'd be in good condition throughout. But you can see we stayed out for an extra 2 laps, and I felt like my medium tyres were still in a good situation and a good condition, and our pace wasn't that bad. But we've come into the pits now, and Dom and Alex are definitely going to get quite a bit of an undercut on us, but we're going to have fresher tyres towards the end of the race. But hopefully this hasn't affected our race too much by staying out this long. Hopefully we won't be held up behind many people at all. So exiting the pits now on the soft tyres, you can see the top 5 have already gone through, and Alex and Dom now have both gone through as well. Alex is actually still in front of Dom as well, and you can see we come out in P9, so behind Aresi again. But now we can just push, give it everything now towards the end of the race. We don't have to worry about tyre wear or anything, and we're going to see what we can do, see how many places we can get from P9 at the moment. So yeah, it's definitely damage limitation here today after making that mistake in qualifying with the timing. I felt like if I'd been in the top 5 in qualifying, I definitely could have fought for a podium around here, and it was the same in Germany as well. I felt like I could fight for a podium around there, and Silverstone as well. So I've lost a lot of points in the last few races, but able to get through there on a resi into P8, but still it's a little bit of a big gap to the group in front. I didn't think the softs would be able to last that long, so that's why I stayed out as long as I did. But I think in hindsight it would have been better to pit a couple of laps earlier, but we can't do anything about it now, so we just got to try and close on the group in front. Alex and Dom were both closing on Tim Palm, and Tim Palm was also closing on the 2 McLarens in front. And you can see now on lap 30 out of 35 we are slowly closing the group in front. In fact, we were actually closing them pretty quickly, but you can see we've made the same mistake we made earlier on. We've gone wide, we've got a warning for extending track limits, and that's now our second 3-second time penalty. So 6 seconds worth of time penalties to add on to our race time, and being in P8 with only 2.5 laps of the race remaining, it's not great. And after the last 2 races as well, yeah, not good. But we've got to try and get in some good results in the next few races. But you can see Dom once again lets us through. I think he thought I probably had a better chance of getting through on the group in front, and I know he had quite a few penalties anyway, so he probably wouldn't have been in the points even if he'd stayed in the position he was. So like earlier on in the race, we've now got an opportunity to try and make a move on the next few cars in front. So if we can do that, then it would be good damage limitation. But I wasn't really aware of how many penalties the cars in front had. I was aware of how many Dom had. Well, I knew he had a couple, but I didn't know precisely how many, but he let me through anyway, so definitely got to thank him for that, because that's made my life a lot easier. Now we've got an opportunity to try and get P6 from Tim Palm, maybe even better from that. But you can see starting the final lap of the race, we're going to stay on board from here to the end. You can see the two McLarens are going side by side into turn 1, and so are Alex and Tim Palm as well. They're still going side by side, getting a little bit close there on the exit. Tim Palm's going for a move on Alex, and I was just staying out of this for the time being, trying to pick up the pieces if anything goes wrong. And you can see Tim Palm's managed to get through, and now we've got a chance to go around the outside of Williams Alex here, but he sort of squeezed us off the track there, and we have to avoid that and go off, and we're going to have to back out as well, so back down to P7. I tried to move around the outside, but there was nowhere to go really around there. But let's see what we can set up in the following corners. Michael's got through into P3 past Floris, and we're still looking for a way past Williams Alex here towards this left hand corner. We're going to look to the inside, and we go for it up the inside, but that was never really on, and we've lost the car. And you can see Dom's gone into us as well, and he's gone into the wall and out the race. And I did speak to both of them after the race about that, and yeah, I had to try something on the last lap. I was going to try and move on Alex, and yeah, it was never really on. Wasn't the greatest move from me there, but Alex didn't seem to mind, and neither did Dom, to be honest, because yeah, it was just a racing incident on the final lap, and yeah, there's nothing really I could do. But we're still pushing here to the end just in case of any kind of time penalties. I saw a little gap and I tried to go for it there on the final lap, but we crossed the line now, and we're actually in P6 because Floris had quite a few penalties once again. So P6 here at Hungary from P9 on the grid, back in the points after a difficult run for us. So yeah, not a great result, but next up is Belgium, a good track for me, and let's see what we can do there. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.